Good morning, evening, afternoon, everyone. I am Dorm. Welcome to Dorm Streams, and this is an announcement of sorts. So if you've been keeping up with the Dorm Streams Twitter, if not, follow at Dorm Streams on Twitter. Yeah, how you like that shameless plug? I've been teasing something for a little while now. I first teased something in, I think, June. It was a pretty short little video with three sort of bars coming up out of the center of the video. Sort of like 80s retro look. And then I've just been kind of putting out little teaser images, changing profile images, all that kind of stuff. Hopefully this has been apparent, this has been a tease, and that I've not just been losing my mind. But this is a tease, and I'm ready to reveal what that tease was for. So, before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about where this came from. When we did our 3-year anniversary stream in April, thank you guys so much for being there, it was amazing. I did a video that was basically like a 3-year anniversary sort of celebration video, I guess. You can find it on the YouTube. But it was just sort of going over all the highs and some of the lows of the stream, sort of how far we've come, both culturally and just in the stream in general. It was a really cool, like, retrospective thing. And I had a lot of fun doing that in After Effects and Premiere. That I had a blast sort of combing through all the video footage, editing that together. And you may have noticed me editing a little bit of, like, Twitch clips or like the clip of Bloodborne with me just kind of doing crazy stuff with the camera. You may see where this is going. I feel like I've grown a lot in editing video. I feel like I've grown a lot as a motion designer and a graphic designer. And I feel like right now is the perfect opportunity to start doing YouTube again. So this announcement, which you were probably watching on YouTube, is for YouTube. So you're probably wondering, Dorm, where is this going to fit? You know, you stream as much as you can. You do the podcast once a week. You record that once a week with Liddy on Tuesdays, and then you edit it on Thursday and Friday and post it on Saturday. Where does this fit within your schedule? Is this going to cut into stream time? Is this going to cut into podcast time? No. The reason I can say this with such certainty is that I've been working on these videos since about May. So maybe April, but really started bearing down in May. So I actually have about 2 months worth of content already recorded and mostly edited. So I am ready to go. This is not going to be like if you're one of the few people around for like the YouTube push back when I was still in college. This is not going to be like that. This isn't going to be sporadic. I have a schedule, but you're probably wondering, well, Dorm, what are you going to be doing on the YouTube? Well, I'll tell you. I'm going to be doing 3 different video series, hence the 3 pillars in that video. And I, first of all, would not be able to do this without you all. This supportive community has been so good to me in Discord and on Twitter. And you guys have supported the podcast so much. Seeing people tweet about that and mentioning it in Twitch chat is just unreal to me. The fact that Lydia and I created this little thing and people are listening to it once a week. I know some people have like binged through it, which is crazy to me. Like that, the feeling of fulfillment with that project in particular has really empowered me to do these projects sort of in the secret, because I can't wait to show you guys what I've been working on. But I'm going to be doing 3 pillars of the YouTube. One of which is a reboot of an idea I actually did approach and do a series of in the original YouTube run. One is sort of a, not necessarily a revival, but maybe a reboot of stuff we've done on the YouTube before, and one is an entirely new thing. I am not bringing back the Dormcast. As much as I love Jay, who is my roommate now, we cannot seem to get on the same schedule. He's going to school, and when I work full-time, it just doesn't line up. So, like, I'll be at work when he has free time, and then when I have free time home from work, he's probably working on homework or he's doing, you know, collegiate activities, whatever. So the Dormcast is not coming back. As much as I love the Dormcast, I'm still proud of the episodes we put out. That's not coming back anytime soon, as far as I know, unless it comes back in some other way, but that's not what we're talking about. So there are 3 pillars of the YouTube. I think I've said 3 pillars of the YouTube 3 times already. So let's talk about what they are. The first, the revival of sorts, is a project that I did in that initial run called Start to Finish. Which is where I play through a game completely on YouTube. So the project I did when I first started this was a game called Oxenfree. I played completely through Oxenfree. And I think that is the highest viewed video, like episode 1 or 2 of start to finish of Oxenfree is the highest viewed video on Dorm Streams. I'm going to be changing the way it looks. I'm going to be changing the way everything looks. I feel like I've grown as much a designer as I have an editor and a personality, or whatever you want to call me, an idiot. So I feel like I've grown in those ways too. So I've rebranded everything. I'll probably put previews of the opening videos in this video. If not, it'll be in the blog post that you might be reading this on dormstreams.co. But we will get into the graphics later. So start to finish is going to be sort of, I wouldn't say unedited because you have to edit everything, but it's going to be very succinct and linear. So if I'm playing through a game, for example, the first game I'm playing through on start to finish is a game called Reigns. I described it as royalty tender, which I think is pretty apt. Basically, and I think it started as a mobile game, but basically you have these cards in front of you, and you're a king in this version, and then you swipe left and right based on how you want the monarchy to reign, or however, like the decisions you want to be made in your kingdom. And that affects your stats, and then eventually, if one of your stats goes too high or too low, you die, and then you take over the heir of the throne, sort of like Rogue Legacy, if you've played Rogue Legacy, in that regard, right? You take over the next generation. So start to finish, like I said, super linear. As I've been doing these, I've also grown into sort of knowing what I want. So the first episode of start to finish does not have a face cam. Every other video that I talk about, including start to finish, will have a face cam. I realized very early on that I wished I had put my face in it. So the first episode of start to finish, which will probably be the first episode of this push, or first YouTube video of this push, that will not have face cam, but do not fret. Every other video will have face cam. I thought the content was good enough to keep, and I had recorded a couple after that, so it seemed appropriate to just keep going with that run. The first episode of start to finish, again, has no face cam. Everything else will. The pace of it is going to be however the game paces. I think I've tried to keep each video around 30 minutes, maybe a little under, maybe a little over. I'm not going to just like cut it 30 minutes if something big's happening or if a life has lasted really long, but I do try to kind of keep an eye on it. So start to finish, to recap, playing completely through a game, and then once we play through that game, we'll start another start to finish series. The second pillar is a project called Dorm Plays. I did two big Let's Plays on my original push. It was Battlefield 1, because I think it had just come out, and so it tells you when I originally did it, right? And Rocket League. They're terrible. That's no fault of my own. I had no idea what I was doing in video editing. I wanted to mimic video projects that I loved, specifically at the time Nerdcube's pace I really enjoyed. Sort of that like fast, snappy editing. I feel like I've gotten a lot better as an editor. I know pace a little bit better now in video editing and just in general with doing the podcast and learning how to have to pace that out for 45 minutes to an hour. I think I have just a better general idea for timing. Of course, that's going to get better as I keep doing this. But I want to do that style of sort of edited YouTube Let's Play video. Think videos rather, like Kind of Funny's Party Modes, Demo Disc from Funhouse, and most Funhouse videos I think are pretty edited pretty similarly. Some of the Achievement Hunter videos, Nerdcubed again, but that's sort of even like Donkey, although I don't want to, Donkey's videos are rather short, so mine will probably be a little bit longer. But that sort of editing, kind of keeping the good bits in, cutting the bad stuff, but not cutting so much that you just can't mentally keep up. That was my problem with Rocket League and Battlefield. Going back and watching it now is jarring because it's just so fast. Like I said, this is going to hopefully be better edited. I've done a couple already, and they're really fun to film. I look forward to filming them every time I do it. So that is the second pillar. So start to finish, of course, uncut, sort of long form, playing through one series, Dorm Plays. Highly edited. And you're probably thinking, well, are you going to play through a game on Dorm Plays? No, Dorm Plays is not for completing something. That's not to say that if a Dorm Plays video goes really well, it couldn't transition to start to finish. It could. My example that I've had in my head for this is like Hitman. I don't own Hitman, But if I were to play the first episode on a Dorm Plays and think, oh my god, this is so much fun, has a lot of room for goofing, there's not a lot to edit out here, then I could see myself making that a start to finish video. Start to finish series rather. I'm also not going to put a 1 video per game limit on myself. I don't think that's a good idea. I think that's handcuffing myself for a couple reasons. 1, there's no reason to do that. 2, if there's a development or if there are different game modes in something, I might just make a video for each game mode. I might want to come back to a game if it's a lot of fun. We could do a part 2 or a part 3. I'm not saying that they have to be 1 video per game, but I'm not going to play them completely through. If I were going to do that, that would be under start to finish. So that's sort of the differentiating factor there. The third pillar of videos, they're all gameplay videos, because I feel like that's what the stream is, and I feel like it would be kind of weird at this point to just say, okay, now I'm just going to do like a news bulletin. So I'm keeping it in video game playing. The third, which is maybe the silliest of all the projects I've been working on, is a series called In Retrospect. In Retrospect, stylistically looks like Nostalgia 101, but in actuality, it's going to be playing games that are at least 10 years old as of right now. I don't want to rule out like 7-year-old games or 8-year-old games, but right now we're keeping it to 10 years or older. It's going to be edited similar to Dorm Plays, so sort of that snappy editing, but it may not be as just joke-centric. We might talk about how the games compare to games now. For example, if we were playing the old God of War, we could talk about how it compares to God of War now, how they sort of kept things going. It's not going to be serious because it's me, but I think we could talk a little bit more about how the game ages or how it still holds up or if it doesn't. I wanted to make this a separate series because I didn't want to bog Dorm Plays down with just everything, and I feel like separating these series entirely. And I mean, there are some YouTubers that I love watching play older games and not newer games. So if somebody likes me playing just the older stuff, the older, weirder stuff, that's fine. I am totally okay with that. I want to make it clear that you do not have to watch every video. Of course, that's obvious, but if you just like one series, let me know. Talk to me in the Discord. I'll be creating a channel just for this. We'll probably just call it YouTube, but just for this project. And let me know what you think. If you like more Dorm Plays than you like Start to Finish or In Retrospect, we can schedule it out however we feel best for everybody. I want this to be a group project. You don't have to do any of the work, obviously, but if you give me feedback, I will listen and I will respond to it. Speaking of which, I'm going to talk about schedule now because you're probably thinking, Dorm, you've only recently gotten up to date with podcasts. That's been going super well. I feel like I've gotten my editing finally down and can do it rather quickly, but it's still a time devotion, right? So what we're going to do, and I think this is safest for everybody involved for now, is we're going to do 1 video a week. Not 1 video per series a week, just 1 video a week, and we'll rotate weeks. So the first video that will go up August 14th, but it'll probably be the first episode of Start to Finish for Reigns. I can't imagine it being something else. And then we're going to just go start to finish, and then the next week will be Dorm Plays, and then the next week will be In Retrospect. And we're just going to follow that out. Now, if I suddenly get really good at editing and we want to do 2 videos a week, that's cool. We can talk about it. If for some reason work gets crazy or I just can't focus on it for that week, if I, leave town for a week or whatever, hopefully the backlog of stuff will allow me to keep the schedule up. But if for some reason, unforeseen consequences are unforeseen. So for some reason, I have to stop that schedule. That's okay. But I think 1 video a week is safest for everybody. I'm pretty sure I can keep that pace up. I've already been doing it with the podcast. Like I said, there's already videos waiting in the bay just for me to export and put on YouTube. So I think that we're all right. But like I said, if people really love Dorm Plays or if people really love Start to Finish, we can make it so we get more of those than the other videos. If it's just overwhelmingly, the Dorm Plays are great, everything else sucks, well then we can adjust accordingly. Now I want to talk about maybe my favorite part of it, which is the design part of it. So Start to Finish is going to be a modular logo. What that means is the type for Start to Finish is always going to be apparent, and it's always going to be in order, right? It's not going to say like to finish start, but it can move around the screen however. So you're going to see this in thumbnails. This is actually going to be important for wayfinding on the YouTube channel. There's some YouTube channels that I absolutely adore, but you can't tell the difference of any series because they all look the same. They have a format that works, and they just run with it. For my channel, I don't want that. I want it to be really easy to look at the feed and say, you know what, this is the video I want to watch because I like this style of video. So for start to finish, we're going to have that modular logo. We're going to have like a... So the color that I'm using for Reigns is blue. The color for the logo start to finish is going to change based on the game. So once we finish Reigns and say another game like Life is Strange, right? I'm not going to play through that because I played through that on stream. But if Life is Strange were the next game, then maybe we can make that green. And then the game after that could be purple. That's what we're going to do there. So with that in mind, the thumbnails for start to finish will look pretty drastically different from everything else. So with that in mind, it should be pretty easy to differentiate what series or where. So start to finish Reigns is going to be blue. And then once it changes to green, it's going to be pretty obvious that the series has changed. And that's going to change in everything. It's going to change in the intro to the video. It's going to change in the lower thirds that pop up on the screen. It's going to change absolutely everything. So hopefully we can keep that identity going. Dorm Plays is probably the most modern, simplistic look of the three. Start to finish is modern, but it's a little more brutalist. Dorm Plays is a little bit more straightforward. But with it, there is a bar that runs underneath the logo, as well as a border that will be around the thumbnails. You may have seen Good Mythical Morning runs a border around their videos. Kind of Funny does this too. I think that helps it stand out a lot on just like the regular YouTube page. So that's something I want to do. But with the bar and the border, I'm going to make each color there. I love having colors represent things. Each color in the Dorm Place videos is going to represent a genre of game. So maybe like shooters are mint green and puzzle games are purple. And action games are pink. I don't know what it's going to be yet. We'll have to just kind of cross that bridge as we get there. But each color is going to denote a different genre, so that, and this will be in the blog post, so that if you just like watching me play indie games or puzzle games, then that's going to be really easy for you to find. A lot of times, like with Nerd Cubed, for some reason, I seek out sort of the smaller indie titles with him, and I wish there was a way to say, like, oh, this is an indie title, other than, I've not heard of this, so it's probably indie. So that's what I wanted to do visually there, and of course, that's going to be apparent in the video as well. The last is In Retrospect, and In Retrospect, like I mentioned earlier, looks completely nostalgic. It's inspired by old VHS covers and, like, bad action movie posters. It was a lot of fun to design. The intro is ridiculous. But it's going to be the easiest to spot because it's just going to look so retro compared to the other two. But I think it's a nice divergence from the two sort of really modernist thumbnails. So start to finish, the color is going to be based on the series. Dorm Plays, the color is going to be based on the genre. And then In Retrospect is going to look the same regardless. But it's In Retrospect, so I think that's going to be pretty obvious. So yeah, if you can't tell by the ridiculous length of this video, I am incredibly excited for this. I'm really excited to show you guys what I've been working on. I think the intros are phenomenal. I think the overall videos are getting really, really fun. I hope you enjoy it. If you don't, that's okay. Let me know how you think I could fix it. If you do enjoy it, let me know, and that will give me a little bit of a boost to keep going. I would not be able to do this if it weren't for the crazy, amazing community that we have on Twitch and now with the podcast as well. Thank you guys so much for supporting everything we do. It's kind of ridiculous and overwhelming. So I hope I make you proud. I hope that you enjoy the YouTube stuff I'm doing. And yeah, as always, take care of the dorm while I'm gone. I will see you on August 14th with the first episode of Start to Finish Reigns.